Hi friends, in this video we are going to discuss the meaning and scope of supply. We have already discussed section 7 subsection 1. Now we are going to discuss section 7 subsection 1a. So in this section it is said that where certain activities or transaction constitute a supply in accordance with the provision of subsection 1, they shall be treated either as supply of goods or supply of services as referred to in schedule 2. So, in section 7, subsection 1a, it states that certain activities are to be treated as either supply of goods or either supply of services. So, it is specifically given in schedule 2 that this items must be treated as supply of goods and this item must be treated as supply of services. So, it is commonly given when we have a doubt whether it to be treated, whether this activity is to be treated as supply of service or supply of goods. For example, in case of a restaurant, so it is providing services, also providing food to us. So the food is a good, whereas the service is also provided along with it. So we have a confusion whether to treat it as supply of service or to treat it as supply of goods. So in such cases, so there are many cases like that. So in schedule 2, it specifically states either treat it as supply of goods or either treat it as supply of services. So that is what section 7 subsection 1a states. Now section 7 subsection 2. Notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1. So this subsection 2 has an overriding effect. So section 7 subsection 2, activities or transactions specified in schedule 3 or such activities or transaction undertaken by the central government, a state government or local authority in which they are engaged as public authorities as may be notified by the government on the recommendation of the council shall be treated neither as supply of goods nor a supply of services. So, section 7 subsection 2 states what are the matters which are not included in supply or not considered as supply. So, the first one is there are some activities given in schedule 3. So, activities or transactions specified in schedule 3 is not considered as supply. And the activities or transaction undertaken by the government or local authority or a state government in which they are engaged as a public authority. So, in such case also it is not treated as supply. So, public authority means a body or institution established under the constitution. The activities or transaction undertaken by the central government or state government or the local authority in which they are engaged as a public authority. So, such activities by the notification of the government on the recommendation of the GST council will be treated as neither supply of goods nor supply of services. That means it is out of the scope of supply or it will not be treated as supply. So, now section 7 subsection 3. Subject to the subsection 1, subsection 1a, subsection 2, the government may, on the recommendation of the council, specify by notification the transaction are to be treated as a supply of goods and not a supply of services or a supply of services and not a supply of goods. So, it specifically gives the government the right to specify by the notification that certain transactions are to be treated as supply of goods or certain transactions are to be treated as supply of services. So, supply of goods and not a supply of services or supply of services and not a supply of goods. So, they can do it only when the GST council recommend them to notify such things. In such case, the government has the power to make such notification because section 7 subsection 3 specifically give the power to the government to make such notifications. So, this is what section 7 subsection 3 states. So, section 7 subsection 1 states that so supply include all form of goods or service or both such as sale, transfer, barter, lease, rental, etc. made or agreed to be made for a consideration by a person in course of furtherance of business. Then the second one is importation of services for a consideration whether or not in course of furtherance of business. Then section 7 subsection 1c states that activities specified in schedule 1 made or agreed to be made without consideration. Then section 7 subsection 1a states that Schedule 2, activities that are to be treated either as supply of goods or supply of services as per Schedule 2. Then Section 7 subsection 2. So it states the activities which are not to be considered as supply of goods or supply of services, and there are two activities. Activities specified in Schedule 3 and activities or transaction undertaken by the central government, state government or local authority in which they are engaged as public authority, as may be notified by the government on the recommendation of council. Then, so in section 7 subsection 3, the government on the recommendation of the council specify by notification the transaction to be treated as supply of goods and not supply of services, and supply of services and not supply of goods. So, we have discussed the concept of supply.